yet. So why the book?
The book to give my younger self a voice, to give my inner child a process to heal from the things that I went through with all of the scrutiny and pressures on my life growing up as a child star. It was a time for me, a difficult time, and I wanted to bring light to the stories that shaped me.
I guess everybody's secret is going to be coming out in 2026, Coz. Brandy just revealed in her memoir that she was 16 when she started dating Wanya Morris, who was much older than her, and basically said that Wanya lied about how that relationship unfolded, and she was totally taken advantage of.
That's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boys to Men was no.
I
was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because she was so young.
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time, you know.
So you were still a boy too. You hadn't...
I wasn't old. I wasn't
like
like 38 years old, nothing like that. I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
Not Wanya Morris saying Brandy was old enough to get it at 16, and everyone laughing about it. But wait a minute, wasn't her mom the one who introduced Brandy to Wanya and practically gave her to him? In fact, if I remember correctly, Wanya himself said that Sonja Norwood approved of his relationship to Brandy. So who are we really gonna blame here? Well, with Brandy revealing more details about that relationship, we have several people, including Wendy Williams, saying that her mom should not get a pass, Coz. Sonja is supposedly directly responsible for everything Brandy went through. Okay, here's the thing. Initially, both Brandy and Wanya denied that they did anything until Brandy reached 18. But in Brandy's memoir, she's basically revealed that it's not true. She wrote that the relationship began in the 1990s, when she was 16, and Morris was in his early 20s. Apparently, Morris started calling and checking on her regularly, becoming a mentor, and providing advice as an anchor and a confidant. And after Brandy opened for the group on its world tour, Brandy wrote that the two grew closer and developed a relationship she now calls inappropriate. In her words, "It seems to me that he weaponized my admiration, shaped my friendship into dependence, my respect into desire. I felt swept up in a current I couldn't control. I was in over my head. Sneaking around with Wanya and lying to my parents had become a constant. They barely liked the idea of me dating at all, and telling them about us was out of question. But it wasn't just about upsetting or disappointing my parents. Wanya and I understood, with diamond-cut clarity, that public knowledge of our relationship would ignite scandal, potentially threatening everything we'd both worked for. So he and I opted for elaborate fiction. We would pretend patience and claim we were waiting until my 18th birthday before pursuing any romantic connection." See, Brandy actually goes into details about the relationship in the book, including how Wanya would emphasize her age at almost every moment they were together, meaning he knew exactly what he was doing. At the time, she wrote she couldn't understand why he would say that, but she explained all the possibilities and what it could have meant. She also says in the book that she lost her V-card to Wanya and said that although she initially wanted to wait until marriage, she thought it would make them closer. But the truth is, she knew it was wrong, but she had no choice. She also said that Wanya became overly critical of her and tried to control her, and also had constant cheating. Imagine having to deal with the infidelity of a grown man at just 16. Anywho, Brandy also said, "The shame ends here. The silence ends here. I was not a fast girl with a crush. I was not a dramatic teenager who couldn't handle rejection. I was not an unstable, obsessive fan. He was an adult, and it's time the world understood the difference." I mean, I'm personally here for Brandy calling out that relationship for what it was, and finally standing on business. But we have people saying that we honestly cannot ignore the role her mother Sonja played in this. Like I said, Sonja was actually the one who introduced Brandy to Wanya, and was in charge of her career with Wanya, specifically saying that Brandy's mother reached out to him because Brandy was a big fan.
I'm going to tell the story. We like stuff like this, especially when people don't have any idea. Okay. Okay, so check this out. Brandy and I were friends in the beginning. Her mother and reached out to me, as well as my manager reached out to Brandy, because Brandy was a big fan of mine. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because this young lady was pretty cool. Now I was young at the time. I wasn't 30 nothing. You know what I'm saying?
And he thought that was amazing. Now, according to what Wanya said, Brandy sort of became his protege after they met. And he said he is actually the one who introduced her to many A-list artists in the industry. And because they spent so much time together, they were really, really close. Then Wanya said that their intimate connection only grew once Brandy was old enough, and it was in full support of Brandy's mother, Sonja.
So Brandy and I were really, really close. Once she turned of age, we had been hanging around each other so much. We've been hanging around each other so much that there became to be some sort of connection, an intimate connection. We actually fell in love.
Of course, nobody believed him when he said the relationship only started once Brandy was an adult, because people from back then knew that the relationship started when Brandy was much younger. And as if it wasn't enough, Wanya had an affair with Adina Howard when he was still with Brandy, and then stood by when Adina's career went to trash because of him. Jeez. And even with Brandy now denying that her mom was aware, people are saying that she definitely knew. And if we are gonna cancel Wanya, we should also cancel her along with him. Remember, Brandy also dated Robert Smith. They quickly got married, and in 2002, when she was still pretty young, they soon announced they were expecting a baby. However, in a 2004 interview, Robert revealed that he and Brandy were never legally married, explaining that Brandy's mother came up with the idea to protect Brandy's public image because it was all about the image for her. In fact, guys are saying that Sonja should be held responsible for everything else that Brandy went through, which was possibly a consequence of her being in an extremely toxic relationship with an adult at her young age. For reference, Brandy suffered from severe ED for a long time, and people have always suggested that it was her mom who pushed her into maintaining insane Hollywood body standards. She actually talked about her struggles during VH1's Behind the Music in 2012, saying, "I wanted to be so thin. That was my main thing. So I started not taking care of myself, not eating properly, not eating at all, diet pills, regurgitating, and all of these things that girls do. People don't understand that being the hottest star or making the most money does not mean anything. I'm here to tell you I was making so much money. I was omnipresent, and I was the unhappiest teenager probably in the world." See, Brandy had previously also admitted that she dipped down from 125 pounds to 105 and would weigh herself every 5 minutes just to make sure she wasn't adding any weight. And there was a time she told Oprah that because she was very thin, everybody was telling her how great she looked. So she felt good about her outward appearance, but her insides were hell. To top it all up, in the fall of 1999, Brandy was hospitalized after her mother found her dazed and dehydrated because she was hardly eating anything. Now, her mother probably didn't tell her to starve herself, but word on the street has always been that it was the pressure she put on Brandy to be perfect that led her there. Well, there have also been reports claiming that Sonja was the one responsible for all the beefs Brandy was having in the industry because she put it in Brandy's head that she was better than all her peers. First of all, Sonja did not like Countess Vaughn. And although Brandy always liked Countess, Sonja convinced her Countess was trying to steal her shine. And that is when the problems began. Apparently, because they were seen fighting constantly, Brandy finally demanded that Countess be taken off their show, after being pushed by her mother to do so. However, because Kim was one of the most popular characters, producers decided to create a new show involving her. But based on reports, Brandy and her family also had a problem with the Parkers getting better ratings than Moesha, and that only escalated the feud. In addition, Brandy and Monica were having issues for the longest time, and even made headlines for jumping each other at the VMA rehearsals in 1998. At the time, the report that was making rounds was that Brandy had given Monica a black eye, but their reps denied that anything happened. However, when they teamed up for It All Belongs to Me in 2012, they opened up about those rumors on Angie Martinez's Hot 97 radio show, and pretty much confirmed that the exchange went down.
Monica and Brandy are here.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
Monica
yes.
and Brandy.
The adult version.
Oh, the grown-up version.
You know what I'm saying? We couldn't come in here in 98 and do this, so it's good that we can do it now.
Hell no. Y'all would probably killed each other back then. I remember.
And then she would have blamed everything on me. Oh, I hate. She would have been like, she attacked me. That's how she does me.
Let's keep it 100. She probably did, right? It was probably her.
I've said I'm sorry. No, stop.
Again, based on what was making rounds, the beef was going on because Sonja put it in Brandy's head that she was better than Monica. There was also beef with Aaliyah, which most people didn't even know about. Apparently, in the beginning, it had a lot to do with Aaliyah's image. The thing is, because Aaliyah's image was a little bit more mature, while Brandy's image was clean, Brandy reportedly made comments about Aaliyah's image being a little too grown, and how her mother would never approve. Also, based on some digging I did, people who were around the two back then say that Brandy always talked trash about Aaliyah, and Monica liking older men, and called them too grown for their ages. How ironic that she was also dating Wanya, right? Anywho, as for why Sonja approved of the relationship, allegedly Brandy was paying all of her bills. So she let Brandy do whatever she wanted because she didn't want to be financially cut off from her. And this is where it gets messy. Because back in her radio days, Wendy Williams definitely knew how these industry situations really worked. But people are saying she stayed quiet on Brandy's situation because Sonja was just too powerful and too aggressive to go up against. And if that's true, it's like, Wendy wasn't clueless. She just knew which battles would cost her everything. Now, these are the kind of things Wendy would have had a field day with. But just because she doesn't have her show doesn't mean she can't have an opinion. Y'all know that she was always fond of Brandy and had her on the show multiple times. And she's actually one of those who called out Brandy's fake marriage. Well, word on the street is that she also thinks that Sonja should be held accountable because she's the one who pushed Brandy. And according to Wanya, even approved the relationship. And they are now trying to flip the narrative. But do you also think Sonja is to blame? Let me know in the comments section below.